Technology Showcase. Wesley Jones, co-founder and CEO, Vonova.
Good morning, good morning. Today, I'm going to introduce you to the future of brain interface. The human brain is a dynamic and intricate network. Understanding these 86 billion neurons and distinct electrical patterns is key to unlocking cures to epilepsy and other neurological disorders. However, the reality today is we just simply do not have enough data to understand the underlying mechanisms of these diseases. Our anatomy that is designed to protect our brain is also the barrier to understanding it. Existing non-invasive imaging techniques like functional MRI seen here or scalp EEG can only tell you general regions associated with activity and at a very low resolution. This is because the skull is a formidable barrier. It acts like a piece of insulation, preventing these high-resolution signals from getting measured outside of the skull. The only way to really get this data is invasive brain surgery. Now, this is neurosurgery. It's no joke. It requires drilling a hole through the skull to expose this layer that's called the dura. It's a membrane encapsulating the brain. And then cutting through the dura, folding it back to expose the brain surface. That is the first step where you can then finally get these sensors on or into the brain. Now, companies like Neuralink here, brain-machine interface, have made a lot of progress in the quality of data, how many electrodes they can fit in a small area. But they still struggle with the quantity of data and people willing to undergo this invasive surgery. And viewer discretion advised. Then there's the story of NeuroPace. It's a leader in neuromodulation for the treatment of generalized epilepsy. It's like a pacemaker, but for the brain. Now, they have an impressive 75% success rate in reducing seizures activity. However, in the last decade, 10 years of being on the market, only 4,000 patients have elected this procedure. So again, today I'm going to introduce you to the future. At Vonova, we're developing a less invasive, breakthrough catheter platform as the first alternative to brain surgery, enabling better access to care and opening up a new $7 billion epilepsy diagnostic market. Now, this story begins in Chicago, where my co-founder, Dr. Morales, and inventor, he was in his neurology residency and first witnessed the struggle of epilepsy patients and their loved ones. Specifically, these epilepsy patients with uncontrolled seizures and very little hope of a normal life. You see, medications have failed them. 40% of the 50 million epilepsy patients worldwide continue to live with these uncontrolled seizures. And their only treatment path, invasive brain surgery. Drilling through the skull to place these electrodes to first only identify where the seizures are coming from. It's a diagnostic surgery just to get the data to tell you if you're eligible for epilepsy treatment. So it's no surprise that 99% of all these patients in need never receive this initial diagnostic procedure and thus live on with their chronic disabilities, in fear of the next seizure, in fear of going to school, driving a car, imprisoned by their epilepsy, ultimately until their premature death. Now, they are my why, and the why of Vonova, which, if you're wondering, it stands for New Hope. Now, my story begins as a medical device engineer specialized in these minimally invasive catheter-based technologies. I spent a decade developing 11 of these devices to market for Medtronic and Acutus Medical in the treatment of heart arrhythmia. Now, the challenge of irregular heart signals is very similar to the challenge of irregular brain signals. You first have to identify where is it coming from, and then either alter or remove those diseased cells. Now, going back several decades in the case of heart arrhythmia, that used to require open chest surgery just to get the data to map and then to treat. And then this unsung hero came about called the transseptal approach. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. It's a common standard practice now. It improved access to care by using your body's natural pathway, a vein in your leg, to get access to the left side of your heart. With this technology, the cardiac ablation market grew from $100 million to over $4 billion today in better access to care. Now at Vonova, we're developing an analogous technology, the Cerebro Atlas system. It is the first system designed to provide a less invasive alternative to brain surgery, accessing the brain surface for recording and stimulating neural activity. The system is composed of two devices. First is the Cerebro Catheter, which is the breakthrough catheter platform designed to get access to the brain surface without drilling through the skull. And then the Atlas device, which is the brain interface technology it delivers. In our procedure, a neurointerventionalist, like our co-founder, inserts the Cerebro Catheter through a vein, the subclavian vein, and all the way up to this large venous channel at the crest of your brain called the superior sagittal sinus. Now, once the Cerebro Catheter is aligned in place, its stabilizing balloon inflates, allowing the advancements of a dilator and guide wire into the dura wall. Now, from here, that allows the advancement of a guide wire into the space between the brain and the skull, actually under the dura, between the dura and the skull. Now, once access is confirmed via X-ray, the delivery catheter is advanced, and the dilator and guide wire are removed, which allows for the Atlas device to be deployed, unfurling to cover an area of 20 centimeters squared, consisting of 36 electrodes designed specifically to measure seizure activity. Now, because the Atlas device covers a large two-dimensional grid in contact with the brain surface, the local field potential can be measured precisely without the need for open surgery. At Vonova, we're revolutionizing the approach to brain interface, introducing safety and affordability to make the diagnosis and treatment of epilepsy more accessible than ever before. Now, this is no longer science fiction. I know that was a really cool animation. But the reality is we just finished our first preclinical study in animals at UCLA with the prestigious Dr. Gary Duckweiler. He's the chief of neuroradiology and ran the first safety studies for the now standard aneurysm coils and thrombectomy catheters. So if you're going to do anything new with catheters in the brain, Dr. Duckweiler is definitely one of your guys. So now with confidence in our procedure's feasibility, we're moving forward through this seed stage to continue on with our preclinical testing, because the time to build is right now. We're on a cusp of a complete paradigm shift. This platform technology has the opportunity to transform the lives of millions of patients. And when you've lost all hope, it's a very powerful thing. And that's the mission of Vonova, giving new hope to millions of patients so that they can too return to school, drive a car, and live the quality of life that all people deserve. Thank you.